My daughter-in-law placed my Thanksgiving dinner on the floor, right next to the dog's bowl. My son laughed, and in that moment, something inside me shattered. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. But when I finally spoke, just 4 words, the entire room fell silent. And by the end of that night, my son was on his knees, begging for forgiveness. If you've ever been humiliated by someone you loved, someone who made you feel small in your own family, then this story is for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because on Betrayed Narratives, we believe in one simple truth: karma never misses. I hadn't seen my son, Ryan, in nearly a year. After his mother passed away, Thanksgiving became our sacred tradition, just the 2 of us, remembering her laughter, her cooking, her warmth. So when he invited me this year, saying, "Dad, it's time we all sit down together as a family," I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in a while: hope. I polished my shoes that morning, pressed my old brown coat, and picked up a bottle of wine I'd been saving since my retirement. It wasn't much, but it was my way of showing I cared. The drive to their new house was long, but my heart was light. I imagined my daughter-in-law, Natalie, welcoming me with a hug. Maybe the grandkids would run up shouting, "Grandpa!" But when the door opened, it wasn't warmth that greeted me. Natalie stood there, arms crossed, eyes cold. "Dad," she said, her voice tight, like she was forcing the word out. Behind her, Ryan appeared, smiling awkwardly. "Hey, Pops, come on in." I stepped inside. The smell of roasted turkey and cinnamon filled the air. It should have felt like home. Instead, I felt like a guest who'd shown up uninvited. As I looked around, I realized there wasn't a single chair set for me at the table. Dinner was announced with cheerful laughter. Everyone took their seats. Natalie's parents, her sister, even their golden retriever had a spot under the table. I stood awkwardly, holding my plate, waiting for someone to notice there was no chair left. That's when Natalie spoke. "Oh, sorry, we're short on chairs," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "But don't worry, I've got a spot for you." She walked to the corner, placed a plate on the floor beside the dog's bowl, and said, "There. Now both of you can eat together." The room went quiet. Then Ryan laughed, a deep, careless laugh that echoed in my chest like a knife twisting. Everyone joined in, nervously, awkwardly, but no one stopped her. My hand trembled. My mouth went dry. I wanted to believe it was a joke. But when I looked into Natalie's eyes, I saw it: contempt. Like I was an embarrassment she couldn't wait to get rid of. I could feel my heart pounding in my throat. I wanted to leave, but pride held me still. Instead, I whispered, "Thank you," and sat quietly on the couch. Every laugh, every clink of a glass felt like another nail in the coffin of my dignity. I didn't touch the food. I just stared at the flickering fireplace, hearing the faint echoes of my late wife's voice in my head. She used to say, "Kindness costs nothing, but cruelty, it always comes with interest." That night, I finally understood what she meant. I wasn't angry at Natalie. Not really. People like her only see worth in what sparkles. No, my pain came from Ryan, my son. The boy I raised alone after his mother's passing. The boy I worked 3 jobs to send through college. The boy who once told me, "Dad, you're my hero." And now he sat there, laughing while his wife treated me like dirt. The betrayal wasn't loud. It was silent, invisible, but it tore through me like glass. After dinner, I stepped outside to get some air. The cold bit my cheeks, but it was still kinder than what I just endured. That's when I met Gloria. She was Natalie's neighbor, a soft-spoken woman in her 60s, setting out dessert trays for her grandkids. She noticed my expression immediately. "Rough night?" she asked gently. I chuckled bitterly. "You could say that." We ended up talking for nearly an hour about loss, loneliness, and love. She told me she'd lost her husband 2 years ago. "You never stop missing them," she said, "but you learn to live with the echoes." For the first time that night, I felt seen, heard. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "Don't let them break your peace. You've already survived worse." Her words lit a small fire in me. That was the moment I decided I wouldn't lash out. I'd let time do the talking. The next morning, I packed my things quietly. Ryan and Natalie were still asleep. Before I left, I placed a sealed envelope on the dining table, addressed to my son. Inside was a handwritten note and a folded document. Hours later, I received a call. Ryan's voice was frantic. "Dad, but what is this?" I stayed silent for a moment. Then I said the 4 words that had been echoing in my head since last night. "You chose your side." He started to cry. "Dad, please, I didn't mean," but I hung up. You see, that document wasn't just a letter, it was my will. I had removed him as the sole inheritor of our family home and trust, redirecting everything to a local charity for single parents. The same kind of people I once was. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because love without respect is hollow. A few weeks passed before I heard from Ryan again. He showed up at my apartment, eyes swollen, voice trembling. "Dad, I messed up," he whispered. "I let her talk to you like that because I was scared of losing her. But I lost you instead." He fell to his knees, crying, and for a moment, I saw my little boy again. Natalie had left him after finding out he'd been removed from the will. She called him a disappointment, packed her things, and walked out. Karma doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers softly through the sound of a closing door. 1 year later, I hosted Thanksgiving at my place. It was smaller, quieter, but filled with something I hadn't felt in years: peace. Ryan arrived early, carrying 2 chairs instead of 1. He hugged me tightly and said, "This year, you sit wherever you want." And for the first time, I believed him. We ate together, just father and son. No gold plates, no laughter at someone else's expense. Just understanding, forgiveness, and a silent promise that some lessons, though painful, are worth learning. After dinner, I walked outside and saw Gloria again across the street. She waved with a knowing smile. Sometimes, revenge isn't about hurting others. It's about teaching them what respect really means. They made me eat like a dog, but in the end, it was them who got humbled. Because money fades, status fades, but dignity? That's a feast no one can take from you. Life has a strange way of balancing scales. You don't always have to fight for revenge. Sometimes, all you have to do is step back and let karma do her work. Because those who mock your worth will one day have to beg for your forgiveness. If this story touched your heart or gave you chills, hit like right now and tell us in the comments. What's the most painful betrayal you've ever forgiven? And remember, every week on Betrayed Narratives, we share real stories that prove one timeless truth. No matter how cruel the world can be, karma always serves her justice. Subscribe, stay tuned, and never forget, your peace is your power.